the summer sun is back with a vengeance this week. Don't be fooled by the lack of humidity. And it's not really a bad time, of course, to reassess your skincare strategy, that is, especially if you may have some chronic skin conditions.
Yeah, so this week we're joined by Dr. Geeta Yadev, dermatologist. Welcome to the show, doctor. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you.
Summertime skin, we got to treat it differently because we're dealing with the heat. And then we've got these chronic conditions, vitiligo, psoriasis, eczema. So what is your kind of top tips for people with these chronic skin conditions?
So I think it's really important that everybody remembers to wear sunscreen. So whether you have a chronic skin condition or not, it's easy to forget because you think, oh, I've got a moisturizer or I've got medications or a variety of things that people are putting on their skins. But sunscreen is really important, or sun protection. So if you find it difficult to put on sunscreen, then UPF clothing, because that can doesn't wash off. It's truly waterproof. So going for a swim, making sure that you're covered up.
And doctor, right now, we're showing some kids at splash pads. I mean, pools, lakes, whatever. A lot of people are hanging out by the water this time of year to try to find some relief from the heat. What about, the frequency of reapplying sunscreen when you're, either sweating or swimming? Basically, it's going to come off, isn't it?
That's right. And so there is no sunscreen that is truly waterproof. They're water resistant, but you do have to reapply afterwards. And that's why I think it's important for kids to wear UPF swimsuits to cover up their skin as much as possible, because it's harder for them to reapply their sunscreen. In addition to that, that water, if your feet are always in this wet surface, it can cause eczema or inflammation on the bottom of the feet. So if you start seeing your kids with cracked, dry feet, it might actually be that they need to be moisturized or they need a medication to help.
Can I ask really quick follow-up to that? Can you put sunscreen, like, the spray on sun? Can you put it on when you're wet, or do you need to be completely towel dry?
It's a good question. So my favorite way to put on spray on sunscreen is you spray it in your palm, and then you mix it up, and then you spread it, because otherwise it sort of blows everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And so you can put it on when you're wet, but
you got to rub it in. And
you've got to make sure it rubs in.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And are there certain sunscreens? I know that everyone's concerned about acne, even adult acne, as our hormones change. Is there a myth about like sunscreen causing acne, and do you have to use a different one for your face versus your body?
So these are all excellent questions. A couple of things about acne. I think people with acne worry about their oil production, and it's true that in these humid days that oil production can increase. But we've learned that acne is actually a disease of the skin barrier. So it is important to repair the skin barrier. I like a good sunscreen with a moisturizer combined, so it doesn't feel too heavy on the skin. So really important to wear that to cleanse the skin appropriately to help reduce the appearance of blemishes. But on top of that, if you're going to be, worrying about acne and breakouts, then the other thing you can do is see a dermatologist and get a medication for that, but make sure that you don't forget to wear your sunscreen.
The one thing you frequently hear, especially in sort of May, June, when the sun is sort of starting to get a little brighter and stronger, is, I'm just going to get my base layer tan going, then I'm kind of good, then I've got some protection. That's a myth, though, isn't it?
Totally a myth. And so tan itself is a sign of radiation damage. So if you are getting any pigment, it's a sign that your skin is saying, hello, help. So it's important that people do protect their skin even from a tan. Those of us like me with a little bit more melanin in the skin, my skin gives me about an SPF of 8. And we really like a minimum of an SPF of 30 on the skin at all times. And so it's not quite sufficient. And even if you're not as worried about skin cancer, it's a lower risk in someone with my skin color. I think it's really important that people remember that pigmentation and other skin diseases can definitely be triggered by the sun.
Certainly,
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about, the SPF levels. You see them ranging from like 8 to 60. How much is enough? You said the minimum is 30, but let's say you are going out there like me to tan because you want that little color and look fresh and glow and Love Island-ish. What is the safe amount of sunscreen protection you can wear while still obtaining that color?
So it definitely depends on a bunch of factors, like the area of the skin. You mentioned body versus face. And also, in addition to that, the surface area that's involved. The thing we've seen in studies is that people tend to apply a third less sunscreen than what's indicated and tested on the bottle. So what happens is if you have an SPF 60, you're probably only putting on about an SPF 18. And so we tend to not use as much as what's used in the testing. So I definitely err for higher, 30 or 45. I'm not as much Love Island tan supporter. So I really think that it's important to reapply every 2 hours, and it's important to use enough. So that you
We're super out of time, but do you hate the term sun-kissed?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured
do?
you might. Yeah. Yeah.
No such thing.
Yeah,
No such
exactly.
thing.
Hey, Dr. Yadev, appreciate this time this morning. Appreciate the insight and the
pleasure.
tips. Thank you
Nice
so
to
much.
meet
Good to meet you.
Thank you so much.